So I thought of you this weekend because the Live Tour, the Live Golf Tour. So just full disclosure, when the Live Golf Tour, there's an event coming up here in Chicago, not far from where I live.
Yeah.
So and there's big names on this Live Tour. Like I initially, my take on Live Tour was, why am I loyal to the PGA? They don't run the Masters. They don't run the British Open. There's the PGA, the USGA, there's Augusta. They run a lot of second tier tournaments. And my take is I'm loyal to the NFL because the NFL encompasses all teams, all owners. It is the foundational piece of the league. Same with the NBA or Major League Baseball. The PGA essentially was a charity to get a tax break. And I was more loyal to Augusta and the US Open at Pebble Beach, Tiger Woods, Phil, Brooks Koepka. I was always loyal to the golfer, not the golf course of the PGA. Now, Augusta's different. I'm loyal to Augusta. And I'm also loyal to every US Open at Pebble Beach. Outside of that, I'm not loyal to courses and I'm not loyal. I was never loyal to anything. So when Live Golf entered the fray, my take was, well, if they have the more interesting golfers, I'll watch those golfers. And that's what's happened with me, is that I've seen multiple PGA events where I don't think they have a good enough field. And so as you watch this weekend, Phil Mickelson obviously had the shot of the weekend.
Yeah.
But as you watched it this weekend, what was your takeaway about the quality and the field of the Live Tour?
Well, I mean, they have two of the best 4 or 5 players in the world. And, I would say Bryson has transcended through just sport to now culturally. I mean, YouTube, he's a gigantic star on YouTube as well. He's just a unique personality, and he is an absolute ass kicker. I mean, Rory did not play well last week in Canada. Bryson is currently the second favorite right behind at Scotty at 8-1 to win the US Open. He's also the defending US Open champion. John Rahm, who had not played well for like a year and a half in the majors, showed serious signs of life at the PGA against Scotty. I mean, for the last 9 holes, it felt like John Rahm might win this, which would have been his third major. So they got two guys in John Rahm and Bryson who are, when they're on, are as good as anyone not named Scotty Scheffler, and honestly could go toe to toe with Scotty. I would say the thing with Phil, um, they had a rain delay in DC, and he was one shot off the lead, and he threw out a tweet like, I got a 10-footer to tie for the lead. And it was like, it's fun to have Phil. I mean, he's one of, I would say Bryson has become kind of the modern day Phil. He's just a unique personality that transcended.
Big.
Now, Phil also had Tiger. I would say there's no one as big as Tiger with Bryson. You could argue Bryson might even be bigger than Scotty. But Phil is just a special, unique. Everyone that follows sports knows who Phil Mickelson. And the thing with golf, you just never know. The U.S. Open is a tournament that Phil has never been able to win, right? Rory just wins the Masters, completes the career Grand Slam. All these tennis players, all the top guys, they win all the Grand Slam tournaments. Most of the top golfers of all time have won all 4 majors. Phil could never win the U.S. Open, even though he's finished in the tops. I think he's finished second like 6 times. It'd be cool just one last time. And I think Phil mentioned
It's
this
his
at
last
the
one.
yeah, which is you know kind of sad, but also you get to a certain point in golf if you're not making the cuts and you get in your mid 50s,
How do
you
you
don't
view
want to get your ass kicked.
how do you view if you and I said greatest golfers of all time, Bobby Jones, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, I love
Arnold
Rory
Palmer,
and
I'd put
Arnold
Arnold
Palmer.
Palmer. Yeah.
There's guys like Tom Kite who finished second a million times. Where do you put Mickelson?
Yeah, I would say his comp, if we were doing like NFL quarterbacks, would probably be Peyton Manning. Uh, he's probably one of the most important people that ever played the sport. He just happened to be at a time when there was a guy named Tiger Woods, like Peyton had
Yeah.
Tom Brady. And I think a lot like Peyton, financial success. I mean, well before Liv came around. Phil, remember that stat? Like for like 10 straight years, Tiger was the highest paid athlete, and Phil was like always 2 or 3 right ahead of Kobe or LeBron. So I mean,
Right.
Phil financially was crushed it. He didn't win till a little bit later. right? I think he won the Masters when he was like 33, 34 years old. And then the floodgates kind of opened. He won a bunch of majors. He's definitely one of the more entertaining. I mean, it's just a fan of golf, one of the more entertaining golfers. Very relatable. I mean, at any moment, Phil could
Yep.
pump the thing out of bounds. I mean, some of Phil's greatest moments have been like shots over fans and over trees to then tap in for birdie. It's not always just splitting the middle of the fairway and then knocking it to 5 feet. I think he's. I never watched Arnold Palmer, but there was an entertainment aspect to Arnold Palmer. I think Phil, when it comes to the individual sports, tennis and golf, uh, is got to be one of the greatest entertainers of all time and slash personalities.
Did you ever read the book? I thought it was great by Alan Shipnuck titled Phil, the rip roaring biography of golf's most colorful superstar. Did you ever read that?
I never did.
Oh my God, I think you'd love it. I cannot believe I haven't gotten this for you. You should go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble.
I'll download it right now.
Okay, it's
I
called
read
Phil.
the Billy Walters book. I mean, me and Phil have some commonalities of some of our vices. You know, we like betting on football. So I mean, I actually being in Arizona, I've met some guys that played with Phil, and I mean they love him. I mean, some of his college teammates are still really close to him. You know, I mean, Phil's a pretty special. If we're talking like football or basketball, I mean, this guy was a blue chip talent at like 18, 19 years old.
So,
One as an amateur on the PGA Tour. I mean, he's had one of the great careers of all time.
sorry to interrupt this great video, but please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you. Now back to the video. I think he looks at the Alan Shipnuck book as a negative. I don't. I found it. You remember when they made Wall Street and Oliver Stone did not want Gordon Gekko to be a hero?
Yeah.
He built him for the audacity of Wall Street and the grotesque nature of money is everything. And everybody, young stockbrokers, end up
Wanted to be like him.
idolizing. And I think Phil looks at the Alan Shipnuck book as a negative. I found it made him more relatable. Listen, between food and gambling and just personality, Phil's a lot. You know what he's like? He's like a more talented, more disciplined John Daly. That Daly just could not control himself at all.
Yeah.
Phil has moments where he loses. He wasn't terribly disciplined, but he was so effing talented and he was smart. I mean, Phil's really bright. And I don't think Daly is necessarily. Daly just a little bit of a mess, but a wildly relatable and entertaining mess. But when I read the Shipnuck book, I recommend it for everybody. I came out of there. It was. I thought it made Phil likable. Like I wasn't bothered. Like it's not like Phil is trying to tell you I've always had abs. I've never bet football. Phil's never tried. In fact, I think he sort of leaned in that he's a little crazy. And I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think you're right. I mean, Phil's qualities. I mean, I think part of the reason Michael Jordan still to this day is so popular, most people can't relate to just winning championship after championship, but Michael likes to drink, Michael likes to socialize, Michael likes to party, he likes to gamble. I think Phil has some of the similarities that it's like, Phil does a lot of relatable things. And I think as a golfer, Tiger could just be so robotic. It was like, hey, this guy's just a lock to win. Where Phil, it's like, yeah, he could win by 5 or he could double bogey 17 and 18 and end up losing in historic fashion. And that's where I think Rory, I think kind of resonates of just like it can go great, it can go poorly. And Bryson, I'm telling you, Colin, I think Bryson US Open this week in Oakmont is going to be a major, major factor.
Yeah, and I think Bryson DeChambeau did a really good job to pivot. I thought he was unlikable. The 13 eggs, the 16 power shakes in the morning. It was like, bro, I don't need a Bitcoin bro winning on the PGA Tour. Just be normal. I think he's become incredibly relatable. I think he's great with fans, which I like. I always thought Tiger was a bit too aloof with fans. I think Bryson has really done as good a job as any athlete. And again, it's golf, so I don't know what his marketing company is. I think he's done as good a job as any athlete going from unlikable to likable in a 2-year stretch. Like I root for Bryson DeChambeau now. I rooted for Brooks Koepka 2 years ago. I still love Brooks, but I think Bryson's the better player now. That's fair?
Oh yeah, not even close. I mean, I'd say Bryson's. I mean, as we sit here today, is currently with Rory in shambles a little bit. Currently, the second best player in the world. I do think the live. He was able to pivot. He went all in on this YouTube. Really
Yep.
kind of changed. I also think golf. it's become a little, it's definitely become more, I would say, more in vogue, more popular athletes now play it, football,
Yeah,
basketball, people like it. But for a long time, you're just very isolated. You're by yourself. It's not a team
yeah,
game. If you are a little quirky and weird, which I think you naturally have to be to just practice nonstop. It's not like tennis where you need another person to practice with. You can just play
right.
golf by yourself. You can just practice by yourself 24/7. That, like, even if you're a little weird, if you play football or basketball, you're going to be around other people and you'll just kind of mold into just kind of them, right? And just parts of their personality. Where in golf, you can just kind of stay isolated. And I think the live team element, I think the YouTube element really kind of changed. And listen, I think Bryson lightened up. You don't have to be like Tiger was. I mean, let's face it, kind of an asshole. Kobe could be, Michael could be. When you're
Yeah.
kicking everyone's butt 24/7, 365, no one really cares. Bryson would go to show up to the Masters and be like, this is a par 67, and then shoot 77. It's like, Bryson, you can't be saying that. So I think he got humbled a little bit. And I think he's just kind of embraced maybe the perfect timing of like social media boom. He just kind of knows how to play it. And
Yeah.
let's face it, you hit the ball 340, 350 yards. I mean, John Daly's still cool and he's 60 years old. I mean, part of hitting
Yeah.
the chicks dig the long ball. I mean, guys dig the long ball. It's cool. And he does that, but he's a great player. So I think he's got, out of anybody, the best chance to beat Scotty this weekend at the US Open.
Great stuff. John MIddlekauff, former NFL scout, 3 and out. Buddy, hit the Tito's today. It's a Tito's day.
Well, take it easy.
All right, buddy.